ES Audio.
Hello, I'm Mark Blunden, and this is the Evening Standard's Tech and Science Daily. Coming up, it's ChatGPT's rival, only for adults. But first, some stunning images have revealed swirling clouds of blue dust caused by NASA's asteroid-knocking test, the real-life Armageddon scenario.
After we started observing, we could see a tail of dust that was produced, and then over the next days we saw some sort of spiral arms developing, so a very, very complex morphology.
That's Dr. Cyrielle Opitom, a comets specialist at the University of Edinburgh School of Physics and Astronomy, who explains the challenges of tracking the rock called Dimorphos 7 million miles away via mega telescopes in Chile.
Asteroid system, Didymos and Dimorphos, was actually moving quite fast in the sky and was really at the limit of what the instruments could do. So it was very, very tricky to make the telescope follow them to do the observations.
So what's happened to NASA's noble fridge-sized double asteroid redirection test spacecraft, which hit the asteroid?
That we don't really know for sure, because, well, that spacecraft had a camera that was able to take images as it was coming in, but it got at least destroyed enough by the impact that it stopped emitting at the time of impact. And the asteroid was so far away and the spacecraft small enough that we couldn't actually see it from the Earth.
The United Nations is warning humanity of a looming water crisis caused by vampiric overconsumption and development. The UN report says there's an imminent risk to shortages due to overconsumption and climate change, which comes ahead of the first big UN water summit in nearly half a century.
Water, whether it's too much, too little or too polluted, is the factor linking the great challenges of our time. From food and energy to migration and urbanization. Water is the common thread.
That's Henry Ovink, Special Envoy for the Kingdom of the Netherlands for Water, speaking at a press conference ahead of the summit.
We have, in fact, breached the planetary boundaries for water, the threshold beyond which our human impact will put society at risk. We have to radically change the way we think about how we use, manage and value water.
Ovink went on to lay bare the point humanity's reached.
The UN 2023 Water Conference calls for water to be prioritized in decision-making, both in policy and politics, public and private. It is only the beginning of a global change in how we understand, value and manage water.
The UK's confirmed it's sending ammunition shells for Challenger 2 tanks that contain depleted uranium to Ukrainian forces fighting Russia, while the Ministry of Defence says such weapons have been standard kit for decades and it's nothing to do with nuclear weapons. Vladimir Putin seized on the latest British arms shipments, saying Russia will be forced to react. Next. Researchers established a link between the hormonal contraceptive progestogen, known as the mini pill, and a small increased risk of breast cancer. Analysis of 30,000 British women's records by the University of Oxford found the use of progestogen for 5 years was associated with a 20 to 30% higher risk of breast cancer over the next decade and a half, depending on the woman's age at the time. But Cancer Research UK, which funded the study, says the risk was small and should not discourage most women from taking the pill. Google has begun rolling out its rival to ChatGPT, but it's only for over 18s in the UK and US. Unlike its rival, which was developed by OpenAI, Google's new bot has a Google It button, which accesses search functions. It also quotes its sources and directs users to a relevant web page if it's made extensive use of it when answering a question. Staying with AI, and Bill Gates says it's the most important technological advance in decades. Microsoft's co-founder described it as fundamental as the creation of the microprocessor, the personal computer, the web, and mobile phones. The team behind ChatGPT received a multi-billion-dollar investment from Microsoft, where Gates is still an advisor. Let's go to the ads. Stay there for more news from the world of tech and science. Plus, would you scoff a slice of cheesecake piped from a 3D printer? Why not hit follow in the meantime? Welcome back. Work has started to unearth a Roman mosaic Buried under a pavement outside a vape shop in Colchester in Essex, the ornate design was originally discovered in the 1980s when services were being installed for the shopping centre, but it was then covered back over and remained hidden. Now the latest excavations come after Colchester, which was the former capital of Roman Britain, gained city status last year. And finally, it could spell the end of hours in the kitchen. A 3D printed cheesecake that takes just 30 minutes to create. Columbia University engineers created the confection by layering 7 edible inks via a syringe outlet, including peanut butter, chocolate spread, cherry drizzle, banana puree and whipped cream. They retrofitted a 3D printer that swapped inks for ingredient cartridges, including crushed crackers for the type of biscuit base beloved by master chefs Greg Wallace. It took plenty of goes to actually resemble anything looking like a slice of cheesecake, but its creators say the tech could also be used in the future to print recipes from chicken, beef, vegetables and cheese. Anything that can be turned into a paste, liquid or powder. Doesn't that sound appetising? You're up to date. Come back at 4 p.m for The Leader, bringing you the latest news, interviews and analysis from the Evening Standard here in London. We'll be back on Thursday at 1 p.m. See you then.